What is up, everybody? I am heading out to Kaena Point, the westernmost spot on Oahu today, and it's a really neat place for native plants out here because, I mean, just in general, Hawaiian plants have done very poorly in the face of invasives and habitat destruction. So this is one of the few places where you can find quite a lot of native plants in great abundance, especially at lowland altitudes, although there are still quite a few invasives here. So hopefully I can show you how to identify a few of the native and non-native species today. So let's get started. So a little background on Kaena Point. It is managed as a state park, although part of it's also managed as a natural area reserve to protect some rare nesting seabirds that you can find at the very westernmost tip of Kaena Point State Park. The actual point itself is a broad, flat area, and there's all throughout here in the state park there's a lot of natural vegetation remaining, a lot of invasive species as well, but mostly natural. The fact that there hasn't been a lot of development out here has really protected a ton of the species, though there has been quite a bit of ATV, off-roading kind of stuff here, which has degraded the quality of vegetation. But there's a lot of effort to try and fix this and, you know, fence off certain areas, prevent vehicles from going there and replant. Some of this effort you'll see. And yeah, there's a lot of really cool plants that can be found here that you're not going to really find elsewhere on Oahu. Now, one of the most common plants you will see in this area is Scaevola taccada, also known as Scaevola sericea. That's a bit of an outdated name though, and commonly known as beach Naupaka in the islands. It is this plant right here. It's a sprawling shrub that grows over the dunes and along the coastline, sort of matching the contours of the land, and growing quite thick tangles of vegetation that you can see there. I mean, look how thick and tangled up those branches are. Pretty incredible, really. It's a member of the family Virginicus, which is almost entirely endemic to Australia, but a few species like this one can be found over a much more broad area. The species is native to Hawaii, but not endemic, although there are endemic members of the genus Scaevola to the Hawaiian Islands. Now, perhaps the most interesting thing about this plant is it's got these semicircular flowers, which you can kind of see right in the center there. I will get a shot more close later. That's really a feature of many species of Virginicus, and this one is no exception. I mean, you certainly don't really see flowers with the petals arranged semicircularly very often, like anywhere in nature. It's pretty unique. On the other hand, though, you have species like this. This is Pulchea Indica, which is not native. It is sadly quite invasive, in fact, in the Hawaiian Islands and other Pacific Islands. Member of the family Asteraceae, as the flower or inflorescence should indicate. It is native to Southeast Asia and Southern Asia, and I believe Northern Australia as well. Tropical portions especially, but yeah, it's quite invasive in a lot of Pacific islands, including spots like right here on the Hawaiian Island. It forms a sort of shrubby growth. Don't see a lot of shrubs that are members of the family Asteraceae, certainly ones that get this big, but yeah, quite a lot of it out here. Speaking of plants that contour the land, we have this one here. This is Sida Fallax, a member of the family Malvaceae, the one with the yellow flowers. Grows as a sort of woody vine that sprawls all along the ground. There's quite a lot of it here, as you can hopefully see. Now, it's a member of the family Malvaceae, as I said, and if you look closely at its flowers here, ooh, that just got really bright. Let's turn that down a bit. There we go. You can see inside there is a stamen that are fused around the central style or pistil. That's sort of a main classifying feature of the family Malvaceae, along with having 5 petals and 5 sepals. The petals arranged into a tube shape, but not fused to each other. They're actually free petals if you were to split the flower open, but I don't want to harm a native plant here. Really nice plant, and yeah, good one all around. I just got done with Sida Fallax right there. I'll find yet another amazing plant species over here. This grass is Sporobolus virginicus. It's a plant species that is not endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, but is found naturally here, and as well as throughout coastlines over much of the world. And it's very important because it does a great job at holding together the soil and the shifting sand dunes. It spreads with root propagations, so it can quickly cover entire hillsides as it is done right here. And so it has a similar niche to the Scaevola taccada, which you can see a little bit back there, and also back there. Yeah, it's a great plant all around. But you also then have this guy right here. This is Heliotropium anomalous variety argenteum, and this variety actually is endemic. The species is found other places than the Hawaiian Islands and like some other Pacific Islands, but this variety in particular is endemic, and I do quite like it because it's got this nice silvery foliage, almost looks like a small silvery version of the Scaevola taccada. But anyways, it's actually a member of the family Boraginaceae, which I've talked about quite a lot in my Utah videos, because there's just so many species of Boraginaceae you can find in the northern hemisphere. So it's always interesting we can find like a family of plants that has species in sort of like maybe a temperate area, but also occasionally just a few species in the tropical, like this one does. A really cool plant all around. I love it. And you can see some more Sida Fallax right back there as well. It's nice yellow flowers. Now that we're at Kaena Point, you can get a much better idea what the Hawaiian coastal shrublands will look like in days long since past. The landscape is, you can see a series of rolling dunes absolutely dominated by the Scaevola taccada, but there's a few other species you can find out here as well. Some more of the Sporobolus virginicus, or actually that might be a non-native grass, take it back, but there is the Myoporum sandwicense, a native species I'll talk about a little later, as well as this large field of Vitex rotundifolia. Not sure why it's growing in such a large patch right there, but it just is. And you can see there's much less, it's much more continuous vegetation coverage, much less invasives like the Pulchea Indica. In fact, not really any of them out here at all, because it's, again, not native, and this is a very intact habitat. So let's see whatever cool plants we can find out here in the next couple of minutes. I found another plant which I'm quite surprised I haven't seen earlier. This is Vitex rotundifolia. They're in the family Lamiaceae, the mint family. It doesn't quite look like a mint aside from the decussate leaves, so it's sort of leaves that alternate at right angles. Except until you see the flower, and it becomes a little more obvious that perhaps it is a member of the mint family. Anyways, this plant grows along coastal areas in the Hawaiian Islands and also throughout the Pacific in tropical areas. It is, once again, not native or endemic to Hawaii. It is native though, and a really nice beach species. It's got a flower smell. That can't get close enough. Oh well. Now for a species actually endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, this is Sesbania tomentosa, also known as Ohai in the Hawaiian language. It's a member of the pea family, as its flower and pinnately compound leaves should indicate. Now, this species is related to, of course, the genus Sesbania, which is found throughout sort of the tropical and semi-tropical areas all throughout the world. This one in particular is thought to be descended from the species found in the South Pacific, which makes a lot of sense. That's where a lot of Hawaiian plant species originated from. And it used to be common all throughout coastal areas in the Hawaiian Islands, and also up to about 600 meters or 2,000 feet in elevation in some places, growing in a tree-like form instead of the sprawling shrub you see right here. But now it's quite range restricted, though you can see... Whoa, sorry about the audio cutting up, but it was just way too windy for me to be heard in the original video. Anyways, you can see here that there are quite a few of the Sesbania tomentosa at Kaena Point. Those are all the plants with these silvery leaves. Speaking of which, they get the silvery color from a fine covering of tomentose hairs on the leaf surfaces. This is a very common adaptation of plants that grow in harsh, exposed environments such as Kaena Point. I hope you guys know how much it hurts to squat down like this all the time and to perfectly arrange this towel so that blocks the a really annoying wind noise out here. Anyways, this is Sesbania tomentosa again. This one's a really little one, just starting to grow up. There's quite a few other ones out here, like there and there. All right, time to squat up. Oh. Anyways, there's not much that's threatening this plant still anymore. I mean, off-roading continues to threaten it, and overgrazing theoretically would, but a lot of the grazing that destroyed it in the past is now not so much a problem anymore, so it should be recovering, and it seems that is the case, so that's a really good sign to see more of these little young Sesbania tomentosa growing out here. I mentioned a plant a few minutes ago called Myoporum sandwicense, and here's an example of it right now. It's a member of the family Myoporaceae, which is pretty much only found in the tropical southern hemisphere. There's a good example of its flower there for you. Can't get any closer though. Anyways, this species in particular is endemic to the Hawaiian Islands, or nearly endemic, I should say. It is perhaps also found in a few of the Cook Islands or Southern Austral Islands in the Southern Pacific Ocean. So maybe it's not entirely endemic, but it practically evolved here and it's found on all the main islands in the Hawaiian Islands. Now, it's a common component of the coastal forest or coastal shrublands, as you can see here, but it's also found in the tall, sort of high elevation dry forest on the Big Island in Maui. So it's a pretty interesting plant. It has an interesting set of distributions. It's hard to Sida Fallax for you. Ooh, that's a lot of Sida Fallax. Really common plant out here. There's quite a few fields I've seen of it that are where it's just like hundreds of little guys growing everywhere and like thousands of flowers. I was just about to leave the gated area Kaena Point when I found yet another endemic species to the Hawaiian Islands. This guy right here is Lycium sandwicense. A member of the family Solanaceae. It's related to nightshades and tomatoes and potatoes, petunias and tomatillos and all those wonderful plants. I'm not sure if this is poisonous at all. I imagine it probably wouldn't be. It's in the same genus as goji berries or wolfberries are found in, so it might be really tasty, but I'm not chancing it at all. Solanaceae is a very dangerous plant family to chance to stuff with. Yeah, another interesting plant. This one's mostly native to the lowland coastal areas in Hawaiian Islands, like as most other species I've showed you. Really only the Naio or Myoporum sandwicense is found at higher elevations as a rule. Now I promised you I'd show you the Scaevola taccada's semicircular flower or half circle flower, and there it is. Now I promised you guys I didn't just pull the other 5 petals off the other side. It really does have a flower. It's just arranged in half like this, which is characteristic of the family Gudeniaceae, which is a part. Yeah, but you don't really see that in any of our plant families as far as I'm aware. Very unique feature. There's a really good one right there. Yeah. Oh man, there's a lot of plant species I can show you today at the Kaena point, but I'm running out of time. And I didn't even get to show you the sort of restoration sites I wanted to, but I really got to go soon. So thanks for watching and see you next time.